Have you ever found a door that hides a secret you were never meant to open? This is not just any ordinary door. It hides whispers, cold drafts, and shadows waiting for you to step inside. Every step is filled with tension. Every shadow makes your heart race faster. And when you open that door, you will face something that changes your life forever. Do you have the courage to step inside and confront the truth behind the secret door? The narrow hallway was silent, except for the faint creaking of the old wooden floor. A cold draft swept past, brushing against her neck. She paused, listening. There was something unfamiliar in the air, a scent she could not place. It was sharp, almost metallic, mixed with the smell of damp earth. Ahead, a small door appeared, hidden between cracks in the wall. It looked ordinary at first, but the intricate carvings on its surface seemed to shift under the flickering light. Her hand hovered over the handle, trembling slightly. The metal felt icy, sending a shiver up her arm. A faint sound came from the other side of the door. It was soft, like whispers carried through the wind. She pressed her ear against the wood. The whispers grew clearer, almost forming words she could not understand. Her pulse quickened. The door seemed to breathe beneath her fingers. A slight vibration, as if something alive was moving behind it. She took a step back, heart racing, yet curiosity held her frozen in place. The hallway behind her felt narrower, darker. A sudden flash of movement caught her eye. Shadows danced along the wall, twisting unnaturally. Her breath hitched. The whispers grew louder, more urgent. They were no longer soft, they were commanding. She turned the handle slowly, every sound magnified in the quiet. The door opened with a groan that echoed through the empty hallway. Inside, darkness waited, thick and heavy, almost tangible. She could hear her own heartbeat pounding in her ears. The air smelled warmer now, like a living thing breathing in her direction. A faint glow appeared at the far end of the room. It was soft at first, almost inviting, but there was something wrong about it. The shadows inside moved independently of the glow, creeping toward her with impossible angles. Her instincts screamed to step back, but her feet did not move. Something cold brushed against her hand. She jumped, heart leaping, and realized it came from the floor. The floor was wet, sticky, and warm, almost like it was alive. A whisper grazed her ear, soft but insistent, repeating a single word she could not comprehend. The glow brightened suddenly, revealing shapes that made her stomach turn. Tall, distorted figures stood in silence, motionless yet pulsating with life. Her vision blurred as sweat trickled down her temples. A low hum began, vibrating through her bones. The whispers merged into a single voice, echoing in every corner of the room. Her mind raced, trying to make sense of what she saw. The door slammed shut behind her, though she had not moved. Panic clawed at her chest. She pressed her hands to her ears, trying to block out the sound, but it penetrated deeper. The glow now formed patterns on the walls, intricate symbols that seemed to writhe like snakes. She realized she was not alone. The figures shifted, gliding closer without a sound. A cold wind rushed past her, carrying the metallic scent again. Her fingers grazed the wall, searching for another exit. The symbols seemed to respond, pulsing beneath her touch, as if alive. A sudden, sharp movement caught her eye. One figure extended a hand, long and twisted, reaching for her. She stumbled backward, heart hammering. The floor beneath her felt soft, almost giving way, as if the room itself was swallowing her. Her eyes darted around, searching for escape, but the walls seemed endless. The whispers became laughter, low and chilling, vibrating through her very bones. She could feel it in her chest, in her arms, in her legs. The figures advanced, moving faster than she could comprehend. Her breathing grew shallow. The symbols now glowed red, intense and blinding. Something touched her shoulder. She spun around, expecting to see one of the figures, but there was nothing there. The laughter intensified, echoing from all directions. Her vision narrowed, the room twisting around her. The door was gone, replaced by a wall she had not noticed before. A shiver ran down her spine. The symbols pulsed again, faster, like a heartbeat that was not hers. The glow shifted, forming an eye, watching her, analyzing her every movement. Her instincts screamed to flee, yet she could not move. Every sound, every shadow, every whisper pressed in closer, suffocating. Then, a voice, clear and commanding, broke through the chaos. It spoke her name. Slowly, deliberately. She froze, unable to respond. The eye widened, and the shadows recoiled slightly, as if acknowledging it. The voice repeated her name, slow and deliberate. It echoed through the room, bouncing off the walls and symbols. Her skin prickled with unease. The eye on the wall glimmered, tracking every movement, every breath. The figures lingered in the shadows, silent but moving with purpose. She took a step backward, her foot sinking slightly into the strange floor. It was soft and damp, like wet moss, but warm, almost alive. A shiver ran down her spine. The cymbals pulsed, faster now, painting strange patterns in the air. The laughter had stopped, replaced by a low hum that penetrated her chest. The voice spoke again, this time closer. It was right behind her, yet no one was there. Her hair lifted slightly as if caught in a sudden gust of wind. The air smelled metallic again, sharp and unsettling. A sense of dread settled over her, heavy and oppressive. She forced herself to move, turning in a slow circle. Every shadow seemed to shift with her, responding to her movements. The figures emerged from the darkness, not fully solid, but unmistakably real. Their eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the pulsing red symbols. One of them stepped forward, its elongated fingers brushing against the glowing patterns. The patterns rippled at the touch, shifting like water. A whisper came from the figure, a single word in a language she could not understand. Her stomach turned, bile rising as fear gripped her throat. The glow grew brighter, casting long, writhing shadows across the walls. Her pulse raced, every nerve in her body screaming to escape. The voice behind her spoke again, this time in a tone that was almost comforting. Almost, but not entirely. It beckoned her forward. Her legs moved on their own, drawn toward the center of the room. The symbols on the walls seemed to form a path, glowing brighter as she approached. A sudden vibration shook the floor beneath her. She stumbled, catching herself against a cold, wet wall. The shadows converged, forming shapes that resembled faces. They whispered in unison, words she could almost understand. Her ears rang with the intensity, every whisper like a sharp blade. The eye on the wall blinked slowly, watching, judging. She noticed a small alcove in the far corner. Inside, a faint golden light shimmered, distinct from the red symbols. The voice encouraged her to go there. Her heart battled between fear and curiosity. The figures did not stop her, they parted slightly, forming a corridor of shadows. Her hand reached out, trembling, toward the light. The air grew warmer, and the metallic scent faded. She could hear her own breath, shallow and fast. The light revealed a small door, carved with unfamiliar runes. It did not match the first door she had entered. Yet it felt like the answer to everything, or perhaps a trap. The voice whispered one final word, soft yet commanding. She understood it instinctively, open it. Her fingers traced the carved runes, cold beneath her touch. The symbols on the walls pulsed in response, almost as if acknowledging her decision. The shadows swirled around her feet, hesitant now, waiting. She turned the handle slowly, heart hammering. The door opened with a sigh, revealing a small chamber filled with a soft, ethereal glow. The smell of damp earth was gone. It was replaced with something floral, sweet, yet unfamiliar. A light mist hovered in the air, curling around her legs. Inside, the chamber was circular, walls covered with inscriptions. Each inscription seemed to shimmer, shifting subtly as she looked at it. A pedestal stood in the center, and on it rested a small, intricately carved box. It pulsed faintly, almost like a heartbeat. The voice urged her closer, yet a warning trembled at the edges of her mind. As she approached the pedestal, the shadows outside the door shivered. The room seemed to exhale, a slow, deliberate movement of air that made her hair lift. The box vibrated slightly under her touch. She hesitated, staring at it, feeling the weight of the room pressing in on her. The inscriptions glowed brighter, forming a pattern she instinctively knew to follow. Her hand shook as she lifted the lid of the box. Inside was a key, unlike any she had ever seen. It glimmered with a strange light, both inviting and dangerous. A chill ran through her, but the voice whispered again, encouraging her to take it. She grasped the key, and a jolt of energy shot through her body. The room shifted suddenly. The mist thickened, swirling faster, forming shapes that were almost human. The shadows outside the door pressed closer. The symbols on the walls glowed fiercely, and the air vibrated with energy. She realized the key was not just an object, it was alive, connected to the room itself. It pulsed with her heartbeat, syncing with her fear and anticipation. The voice spoke one last time, louder, clearer, choose. Her mind reeled. A sense of responsibility pressed on her chest, heavier than her own fear. The figures in the shadows moved closer, wait. She stepped through the shimmering doorway, the key pulsing in her hand. The mist enveloped her, cool and soothing, unlike the oppressive air of the chamber behind. Shadows from the previous room reached out, but they could not follow her beyond the threshold. The glow of the key dimmed slightly, as if satisfied. Before her stretched a vast, quiet forest. Moonlight filtered through the branches, silver and serene. The air smelled of pine and damp earth, calm and familiar. She could hear the gentle rustle of leaves and the distant call of an owl. For the first time since entering the secret door, she felt her heartbeat slow. The key led her to a small clearing, where an ancient stone pedestal stood. Carved into it were symbols similar to those she had seen in the chamber. A gentle warmth radiated from the stone, comforting rather than frightening. She placed the key into a small indentation at the center of the pedestal. It fit perfectly, and the stone glowed softly. A wave of energy washed over her, not threatening, but enlightening. Visions flickered before her eyes, memories of the chamber, whispers of the shadows, and faces she had never seen. It was as if the room itself was sharing its secrets, revealing its purpose. She understood then, the secret door was a test, a gateway to courage and understanding. Fear had been the lock, bravery and curiosity were the key. The glowing light spread through the clearing, and the symbols dissolved into the air. The forest around her seemed alive, welcoming her presence. She felt a weight lift from her shoulders, the tension of the chamber replaced by peace. The whispers had stopped, replaced by silence that was calm and complete. She turned the key in her hand one last time, and it dissolved into a soft spark of light. It vanished, leaving only the memory of its warmth and the lessons it carried. The doorway behind her shimmered faintly, then disappeared, sealing the chamber forever. There was no fear now, only the quiet thrill of having faced the unknown. As she walked back through the forest, the moonlight guiding her path, she realized she had changed. The secret door had tested her, challenged her, and in doing so, had revealed a part of herself she had never known. She smiled faintly, knowing that courage was not the absence of fear, but the strength to move forward despite it. The night air was crisp, carrying the scent of pine and earth. Every step she took felt lighter, freer. The forest seemed endless, but she did not mind. She had faced shadows, whispers, and fear itself. And now, the world felt full of possibilities, waiting for her to explore. She paused once, looking back in the faint distance, sensing the presence of the chamber, the shadows, the secret she had unlocked. It was no longer a threat, but a memory, a story she would carry with her forever. Her heart felt steady, her mind clear, and a quiet strength settled within her. The secret door had closed, but its lesson remained. Courage, curiosity, and the will to face the unknown had carried her through. And now, she was ready for whatever paths awaited her next. The forest whispered softly around her. And she walked on, calm, confident, and forever changed.